Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
Ah, you found yourself a hunter.
Hi guys, did you enjoy that really cool intro? Because I know I did. It is, what is the time? It is 2:24 p.m. I'm pretty sure this is the second time I've recorded the audio for this video because I started recording it 2 days ago in the middle of the night and I had an exam in the morning. So I was like gone. Everything that I said is incomprehensible. I sound fucking miserable. So I'm redoing it again while I'm still conscious. But today I'm gonna be redrawing an old drawing. Well, not. It's kind of a redraw. It's a piece that is very inspired by an old piece I did. I think it was last year or maybe late 2023. I don't remember. However, this is a drawing that I really like this drawing. But you know, there's always something that you can improve on in all of your drawings, and even though I do really like the old version of this drawing, there's obviously a few things that I know that I can kind of test myself to improve on. Like, for example, all of the drawings that I've done of this character, Laurence from Bloodborne, by the way, every drawing I've done of Laurence, he's always not wearing any clothes, which I do have a reason for that, which I'll probably get into a little bit later. I do want to preface this by saying I don't have a script. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass and praying that everything that comes out makes sense and isn't jumbled. But I have a good 21 minutes to fit in everything I want to say, so hopefully I have enough time, or hopefully I don't run out of things to say before the end of the video, because that would not be good. But getting into everything that I changed about the last piece, everything that I changed in this piece that was inspired by the last piece. Obviously, 1, I gave him clothes, and 2, I gave it a background, and 3, I colored it and did it digitally. That's what I meant to say. One of the main reasons that I never really drew Laurence with clothes before this is because Laurence doesn't have a canon design. I guess in a way he kind of does. Like, the game, I'll get into what the game is in a little bit for anyone who hasn't played Bloodborne. But Laurence, he doesn't have a canonical design. We don't know his hair color, we don't know how old he is, we don't know how he looks, we don't know what clothes he wears, etc., etc. But there are hints to what he would wear in the game. Throughout the game, you can find different armor sets to equip, and every single item in Bloodborne has a description, which will help you piece together some of the lore of the game. And just by all of the clothing descriptions, we can tell that there are some clothes or armor sets that Laurence would be more likely to wear depending on the item descriptions that match up best with his backstory. I did decide to use the choir garb set, mainly because that was one of the ones linked with the Healing Church the most. And overall, I think it just fits his character. I also chose it because it is what some of the Bergenworth scholars, one of the enemies in the place that his backstory revolves around, that is what they are wearing. So I thought that would match best with his character. I depict Laurence with blonde hair. I have a reason for this. This isn't canon, again, like I said earlier. Bloodborne lore is incredibly lenient. It's the same with a lot of From Software games. You don't really know what's happening. It doesn't have it has like a firm story of what happens that you can very easily depict throughout the game. But there are obviously some things that aren't really expanded upon that you need to really think of yourself and piece together yourself via item descriptions, which is really fucking annoying, but that's what makes FromSoft games FromSoft games. It is implied that Laurence had a sister. I'm basing this purely off of a single item. I can't remember the item that it was. I'm pretty sure it was like a ring, I think. But the description of the ring basically goes over, or it's talking about a brother and a sister who left wherever they were beforehand and founded a new city to live in, which is very much similar to Laurence and how he left Bergenworth College to found Yharnam and basically create this new city that revolves around blood administration, yada yada yada, everything like that. And I thought that the boss, Vicar Amelia, her boss fight is in the place that you find Laurence's body or his skull. It also looks as if she's kind of praying to it. And I kind of linked the two, and it made me think that maybe Laurence and Amelia were the brother and sister from this item description. Amelia, in her human form, she has blonde hair. So I just thought, well, you know, typically people who are related tend to look the same in media like this. So, you know, fuck it, Laurence has blonde hair now. I love Laurence. He is my favorite Bloodborne character, along with characters like Mikolash and Lady Maria. I love Lady Maria. Those three characters, out of all of them, Laurence is the one that appears the least. And it's important to note that Laurence is one of the main figures in the game. The game would not exist if he didn't exist. Laurence is the reason that everything in the game happened, which I'll get into the plot later, as I said a second ago. But, it has been really hard. I started playing Bloodborne when I was 13 years old, so a couple years ago. And these couple of years, I have only been focusing on Laurence and maybe a few other characters, but Laurence has always been my favorite. He's always been the one that I've always put the most kind of thought into. And the weird thing is, he only shows up about twice in the entire game, and one of them is through a cutscene that depicts the past.
Master Willem, I've come to bid you farewell.
Oh, I know. You think now to betray me.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
We are born of the blood, made men by the blood, undone by the blood. Our eyes are yet to open.
Fear the old blood. I must take my leave.
By the gods, fear it, Laurence.
Or things that happened in the past before the game even happens. And the second one, his second appearance, is when he is a beast, after he transforms into a beast and you fight him. And that is literally it. He does not show up at all. There are barely any mentions of him in the game, apart from like a single note that you can find, which is really weird to me because Bloodborne wouldn't exist if he, wasn't as important as he is in the game. Getting on to what actually happens in Bloodborne, I'll do a quick summary. I'm not going to go into everything because last time I tried to go into everything, I'm pretty sure I had like 30 minutes of me just repeating the exact same sentences. So, just a brief rundown of what Bloodborne is. You play as a hunter who is made to hunt beasts. It's set in like kind of London. I'm pretty sure it was based on London, and the scenery was inspired by someplace in Italy or Paris, I think. I don't know. The architecture is fucking beautiful though. But you play as a hunter, and it's your job to kill the beasts that are plaguing this city. You go through the city, you kill a ton of bosses, and it's kind of your job to figure out what is going on, like, why is there beasts? What are they doing here? How did they get here? How are people turning into beasts? What are all of these bosses, and why is there a god that I have to kill, But the brief history of Bloodborne, or the past, the backstory of why everything happened. Laurence was part of a school called Bergenworth. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Bergenworth earlier, but he went to this college, and the college was ran by this guy called Master Willem. Laurence was kind of his, like, second-hand guy. He was his student, but he was, like, his main student, if you know what I mean. And Master Willem, his whole thing is believing that people could ascend to godhood via use of, like, knowledge and insight, which in Bloodborne, you get that through eyeballs. So, I'm pretty sure he, like, plucked his eyeballs out, stored them in jars, and he would, like, steal people's eyes in order to try and become a god. But obviously that didn't really work for him. At some point in the future, Laurence takes a group of Bergenworth scholars from the college down into these ancient tombs, where they found an ancient civilization who had, gone extinct. And down there in the tombs, they found a god, a great one. And her name was Ebrietas, daughter of the cosmos, and she has this ancient blood, where she's a great one, so she has this blood that is, greater than that of a human's blood, and the blood of a great one has these, like, crazy healing properties that can heal everything. So Laurence took this blood back to the college, and told Willem that he thinks that they can ascend to godhood via experimenting with the blood. And Willem, he did not support this. He was very weary of the blood. He knew that something was wrong with it, but Laurence didn't listen. And because Willem didn't allow him to experiment with the blood, Laurence decided to leave, and he created Yharnam, and they founded a church revolving around blood ministration and blood healing. So people start hearing about the city that can heal any wound or any disease, and people started to flock to the city, living there, and consuming this blood to heal whatever the diseases they had. And over time, it was clear that the blood had something wrong with it, and people started turning into monsters. And that is where Laurence founded different, subcategories of the church. So you had the scholars, which came from Bergenworth. You had the choir, the School of Mensis, which Mikolash is part of. He's another main character. And then you had the hunters, which obviously you play as. And the hunter's job was to go around the city, killing all of these beasts and keeping everything under control. Obviously, that didn't work very well, and people begin to find out about the beasts, and the plague begins to get worse and worse, and the entire city is just taken over by beasts. All while this is happening, the first hunter, the guy who led the whole hunter division, German, he and his student, Lady Maria, them and I think Laurence and Ludwig, who's another main character, and maybe Mikolash, they all found out about a fishing hamlet that's not too far away from the central city, and they found out that a god had washed up on the shore, on the beach of this fishing hamlet. So they, went over there to, see what the fuck was going on, and they found out that the god, the fish god, washing up on the shore, ended up infecting the entire village with a fish plague, and all of the people in this fishing hamlet had been turned into, fish people. So they all go around and massacred the entire fishing hamlet, and they start experimenting on anyone who wasn't affected by the fish plague. Lady Maria specifically, she starts experimenting on everyone, and she starts filling their heads with water from the ocean that the god was in, to see if maybe they could also ascend to godhood via the fish. And obviously that didn't work. And eventually, I guess all of the guilt from massacring the fishing hamlet and everything that went on in the city, knowing that it was kind of their fault for spreading the blood and disguising it as a way of healing, I guess the guilt and the stress got too much for a lot of the main characters, and I think Lady Maria, she croaked. German, I don't know if German died, but he ended up getting kind of transported to this alternate reality, and he's permanently stuck there until you come along and take his place. Ludwig, he dies and gets turned into a beast and also gets transferred to this kind of nightmare realm. Laurence, he also dies and gets taken to this nightmare realm. And then that's pretty much where the backstory of the game stops, and you come in and start to pick up where it left off. Obviously, there is a lot more that happens in the game that I'm not really talking about, because it would just take me too long. The lore behind these kinds of games, it takes years to put it together, really, and there's still definitely a lot that even I don't know. But going back to the drawing, which is the main point of the video, it's pretty much almost done. As you can see, I definitely experimented with the background, which gave me a lot of trouble. I'm pretty sure I ended up, like, ripping a picture straight from the game and using it as, like, the sky because it was just taking me too fucking long. But yeah, I definitely experimented with, like, the clothing, especially the background and the flame in the background, which there is a reason why I put a flame in the background, but I'm not gonna get into that. But I think Bloodborne definitely holds an important place in my heart. I got into it when I was going through a very rough time period, and the topics of the game is specifically, it doesn't seem like it, but the plot very much revolves around, like, femininity and sexism and misogyny and just shit like that. And at the time, I was struggling with a lot of that. And I guess just having a game to hold on to that revolved around those topics as I was going through it, I think it definitely helped me to have something to focus on and not, I don't know, be so depressed. I'm not saying that Bloodborne cured my depression, but I am kind of saying that. But anyway, I hope you guys found everything that I put in the background of this video over me talking was... I hope you found it interesting. This clip I'm showing right now, I put this in last minute because I ran out of screen recording of me drawing, so I just put this in the background to save time. But yeah, this is my own video. Oh my god, the quality is so bad. But this is me fighting the first boss in the game, the Cleric Beast. But I should probably stop the video now because I'm supposed to be going out in like an hour. And I need to get ready, and getting ready takes me fucking ages. But I hope you enjoyed the video and listening to me talk. I know a lot of you guys like listening to me get autistic or like rumble about my fixations. So I hope this video wasn't too long. It's only 20 minutes, so it's not that bad. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed, and I will post again some point soon. Okay, goodbye. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Goodbye.